Okay, you are watching Hey Hey Sports, episode number, I think it's 3 or maybe 4, I gotta double check this, but anyway, I'm on my own today, my co-host is not with me, so just a little bit of recap. Chicago Cubs play the Mariners in the season opener at Wrigley Field today. Cubs lost 4-9, I'll get into more on that in more detail. Stanley Cup Finals, Florida Panthers have repeated as back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, finishing off the Edmonton Oilers in Game 6. The NHL draft will pick up on June 27th of next week. The Chicago Blackhawks have two draft choices in the first round. They got being the 3rd overall pick, which you're talking about trading, and then they got the 25th overall pick. NHL free agency shall begin on 1st of July at noon. Key free agents being Mitch Marner playing right wing, Sam Bennett, who has already said he'd like to stay in Florida if he could, Aaron Ekblad, defenseman Brock Besser, right wing, just to name a few. Jonathan Taves, in other news, has returned to the NHL, age 37. He's trying to make his comeback. He just signed his contract, I think, a day ago. Last I checked, it was $2 million league minimum with a $5 million playoff bonuses depending on what his team does in the playoff tournament. If they get there, more on that, more detail later. The Chicago Cubs currently lead the division by 5 games. The White Sox, last I checked, they were winning 5-0 against Toronto today. But they're still dead last with a .307 winning percentage, and they're 24.5 games back. Martin Davis, who's a pitcher for them, is on the 15-day DL. Not looking good for them. And then Luis Robert is already, him and Andrew Benintendi are already in the trade conversation, so I don't know what the hell they're doing. And also, another news, Jerry Reinsdorf is involved with a lawsuit concerning the 2023 Comiskey Park shooting from a few years ago. Go figure. Anyway, I guess I'll just start winging it now. Anyway, let me start off with the Cubs. If the Chicago Cubs don't hit 5 home runs in a game, they don't win. And they're kind of scaring me now, because everyone's talking about, well, you know what, they're in first place and everything's hunky-dory. Okay, yeah, true. But you know what? They struggled against Milwaukee. They struggled against the Pirates. They were lucky just to take 2 out of the 3 against the Pirates, I'm sorry. The one of the games against Milwaukee got rained out. It's going to be replayed, I think, in August or September. I got to double check that. And then, they got to go play 2 more games against a good enough Seattle team. Cal Raleigh, man. He had 30 home runs already? Man's amazing. He's an amazing home run hitter. And they got to deal with him next 2 days. They got to deal with him and his team next 2 days. And their bullpen, Cubs bullpen, was lifeless. Just pathetic. Just completely pathetic. They get 8. See, this is my problem with them. They get 8 hits, 9 hits, and they leave men on base. Now, I know they're not the only team to do that, but my God, they can't hit behind the runner. They don't get line drives going. They don't steal the bases as much as people like to think that they do. And it's Pete Crow Armstrong. Okay, he's got no plate discipline. He's got no patience. And it's just, he's starting to piss me off too now. Don't get me wrong, I like Pete Crow Armstrong, but it's just, who does he think he is half the time? He can't just sit and wait on a pitch? He can't do that? The $40 million man, Craig Counsell, in the dugout? He can't coach him to maybe ease up a bit here and there and just sit and wait on a pitch? I mean, he was 0 for 4 today, for crying out loud. Jesus. Michael Busch went 3 for 3, but come on. If they don't get 4 or 5 home runs in a game, they don't win. Boog Shambi and JD were in the booth today. They were in broadcasting today. And I was listening to the game. And Boog Shambi's talking about, The people who don't like home runs, or the people who criticize the home run hitting teams, well, they benefit you in the playoffs. Number one, no shit. Number two, we're not in the playoffs. We're still in June. We're not even in the playoffs. We're only 5 games up against everybody. And Milwaukee is right there. St. Louis is right there. The St. Louis Cardinals are like Michael Myers. You think that they're dead, but they're never dead. It's not over until it's over. You gotta go play a 4-game series against St. Louis next week. That's a little concerning. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The Cubs currently got a 2-game losing streak. I hope they figure it out. I'm sure they will. I hope they do. However, our Southside friends, it's not looking too good for them either. They're in dead last. And so I don't even know how you say the new guy's name, but the guy who's involved with purchasing the team from him, that's not going to be in effect until 4 or 5 years down the road. So what is that there? What is that then? Because if that's the situation, the White Sox are in the same spot the Chicago Bears are in. With the thing with the Chicago Bears is, and I'm gonna try not to go much into detail on them, because every Chicago sports podcast who doesn't have anything to talk about, they always fall back on the Chicago Bears, which I get, I understand. However, in my dilemma with them, it's just, okay, the past 3-4 years or so, you've never really heard anything about the wins and the losses. It's just, oh hey, we want a new stadium. Okay, you want a new stadium? Well, there's ways to go about it. You bought the property up there at Arlington Heights. Why don't you do something about it? See, if the McCaskey family, if they bought, you bought all that property up there and you don't do anything with it, that is going to go down in history as one of the biggest blunders in Chicago Bear lore. And that's funny, because the Chicago Sports Network today, about the Bears, on their Bears podcast, daily show they do, they were talking about, like, oh, what if the double doink went in? What if you didn't let Roquan Smith go to Baltimore? Oh, that was a great idea. Oh, how about trading Greg Olsen away for nothing? Oh, that was a great idea. My offensive system doesn't need a good pass-catching tight end. And Mike Martz, you wonder why you're sitting at home watching football games like I am. And you wonder why. Okay, great. But anyway, going back to the NHL, I would like the Chicago Blackhawks to actually put money where their mouth is. Now, yeah, sure, they signed Ryan Donato to a 4-year deal. Okay, great. Everyone's getting excited over that. However, his best year at age 29 was last season when he put up 30 goals. That's the most he's ever got. Other than that, it was like 12, 15 goals. Middle-of-the-road player. Just because he had a great year last season, this previous season, that doesn't automatically translate into him having another 30-goal season at age 30. That doesn't mean that. You know, the big fish that I would want, drum roll please, I want Mitch Marner. He's a 100-point guy. He's a great playmaker. He's only 27, 28 years old. I want him. And you know what? I know a lot of people in the NHL fandom, just in general, don't like him. But really only because of, again, a certain larger YouTube channel that I'm not going to mention by name, that involves a grown man, if you can call him that, yelling and screaming in his mother's basement about, oh, I don't like Mitch Marner, just like screaming his head off, sounding like Charlie Kelly from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Okay, great. Okay, so because that guy says that, and therefore everyone else needs to agree with it. He's a point-per-game player. He was a point-per-game player in the playoffs, too. But God forbid you say anything about number 34. God forbid you say anything about Willie Nylander. God forbid you say anything about John Tavares. God forbid anyone in the Toronto Maple Leafs circle of life says anything else other than that. Oh, how can you blame the fans? Oh, I don't know. Maybe when you're, vandalizing their home property, throwing garbage and trash and harassing them and their families and sending them hate mail and the hate articles about themselves and sending them to their family and friends. Or, yeah, maybe, just maybe, certain guys in the NHL wouldn't want to play in Toronto if that's the case. Which maybe in Mitch Marner's situation, hey, maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I'm not him. But if I was Kyle Davidson, which I'm not, and there's a lot of people, much like Jed Hoyer, who... A lot of people don't like Jed Hoyer. A lot of people don't like Kyle Davidson. And I'm on the middle of the road with Jed Hoyer. I'm trying to like him. I'm not the biggest Kyle Davidson fan. There, I'll admit that. If Kyle Davidson really wants to be looked upon as a great executive or a great general manager or whatever you want to phrase it as, he needs to hit big in this offseason, because if he doesn't, then he's just shot himself in the foot along with the team. Because, okay, so you got the 3rd overall pick, and there's talks about them with trading it away, and I don't know what they would really get out of that, and I don't know who they would obtain in the draft, really. Because, let's say for sake of argument, okay, they made a decision at the number 3 spot. Okay, so you get a prospect who is just going to be bouncing around the AHL or the ECHL for God knows how long, while Nick Foligno, Connor Bedard, Spencer Knight, Ryan Donato, Teuvo Teravainen, they're all just, twiddling with their thumbs. It's like, what are we doing here? I am in more of the camp of trading the number 3 overall draft choice away. I don't know who you would. I don't know who you would get out of it or what you would trade away with it. But going back to the 2 organizations that just played in the Stanley Cup Finals, those are not young teams at all. They're not. And the Edmonton Oilers have done a lot of stupid decisions via the front office management. And as much people love the Florida Panthers, and I understand why, they got there 3 years in a row, but their goaltender, Bobrovsky's 37. They traded away Spencer Knight for Seth Jones, and I don't even know if they extended Seth Jones. They got Brad Marchand, who's 37. They're not going to be able to keep Ekblad, Bennett, Kachuk, Brad Marchand. They're not going to be able to keep everybody. And you got Connor McDavid, who, after the end of next season, I think it is going to be a free agent. So what are you going to do then? I'd love for the Blackhawks to go out and get Connor McDavid. I would. However, do I, as a fan, want to be sitting just hoping to God that you get him? I got to go and just sit and just wait for my team to do something right? Wait for my team to do a smart decision? No, not really. I don't really want to have to wait another year, 2 years. I don't really want to have to do that. I'm sorry. I don't. I'm a Blackhawks fan. My team has not been in the playoffs since 2020. That's been a long time for me. Yeah, I know. But I don't know. As I said again, I'm not a writer. I'm not an executive. I'm not a professional reporter. I don't have a broadcasting degree or anything such as that. I don't have that. I'm just a guy like you talking about sports and just bringing my interests out to the public. That is all I am doing. I don't pretend to be 670 The Score. I don't pretend to be ESPN 1000. I don't pretend to be people who claim to be smarter and more intelligent than what they truly are. I'm not going to do that. Because that's unfair to me and you. I'm not going to do that. Anyway, I think I covered all of my points here. But I'd like to see... Oh, well, you know what? I will say one other thing. I will say... Actually, I'll say a couple of other things here, too. I just spend this entire NHL, playoffs watching it on my TV. Just having to hear about tax write-offs and tax revenues and whatever. Well, when the Florida team sucked, when the Tampa Bay Lightning sucked, when the Florida Panthers sucked, no one was saying that. When the Arizona Coyotes, who no longer exist, sucked, no one was saying that. When the Dallas Stars were just marginal, and they still are, no one is saying that about them. Oh, but when they win, people come out of the woodwork and say, oh, hey, wait a minute, Mr. Bettman, oh, Gary Bettman, oh, Mr. Commissioner, you gotta, like, fix this. Paul Bissonnette says this on the panel. He said, like, okay, so you have Gary Bettman, you got the Commissioner of the NHL on your TNT NHL Hockey Playoff panel, and that's what you ask him. Are you kidding me? Are you insane? Are you kidding me? But anyway, this was... I knew Florida was going to win. Anyone with a brain knew Florida was going to win. Because as good as Edmonton is, it's really three people. It's really only three guys. Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, Connor McDavid. That's it. That's really it. Don't give me Corey Perry. Don't give me Evander Kane. Don't give me Stuart Skinner. And Edmonton fans, you went way too overboard in how you treated Stuart Skinner and his family here recently. You should really be ashamed of yourselves. You really should. But no, there was no way in hell that just a team of only three people is going to go to war in a Stanley Cup Finals series against a loaded Florida Panthers squad where their third liners and fourth liners could go be quality stars elsewhere. Don't give me that. Don't give me that. The Canadian NHL Stanley Cup drought still continues from 1993 onward. And if you go and you look at all those Canadian teams, the Vancouver Canucks are imploding. The Calgary Flames aren't great. The Calgary Flames are the ones who pushed Sam Bennett and Matthew Tkachuk out of their organization. And how'd that turn out? Oh yeah, they went and they go and they beat their old arch nemesis, the Edmonton Oilers, in the Stanley Cup Finals 2 years in a row. Who would have thunk it? But anyway, you got that. The Ottawa Senators got humiliated in round one. You got the Toronto Maple Leafs who have the core four every year. And it's just, I always imagined that the people up there in Canada would be more aware on how to operate an NHL team. Having four forwards who play no defense and just overpaying them, that's not going to help you win games. No, come on. Come on. Come on, people. Come on. And then there's the great Montreal Canadiens who I'm not too fond of. I'll be open and honest about it. But no, I see the drought continuing for a longer time for the Canadian NHL teams. I do. I hope I'm wrong. But frankly, I don't think I am. And I think, no, I don't. But to be fair, I'll go even one step further. And you can quote me on this. And if I'm wrong, I'll be the first one to say it. I don't see the Florida Panthers winning again next year. I don't see them going on a deep playoff Stanley Cup run next year. I don't see them doing that. But back to baseball, the New York Mets have been struggling recently. The Phillies and the Mets are going at it 1-1 back and forth. That's like a heavyweight fight right there. I think this year for MLB, I think you're not going to see a lot of parity in the playoffs. I think whoever's going to be the divisional opponent or the divisional winners, I think that's the teams that you got to watch. But either here nor there. Speaking of divisional winners in sports, in the AFC Central, the Pittsburgh Steelers have picked up Aaron Rodgers, 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers in free agency. Everyone knew that was going to happen. You just didn't know when or how and when it was going to happen. And I don't see how that's a benefactor at all. So how do you let go Russell Wilson? How do you let go Justin Fields? and you wait to the 6th round to draft a quarterback, and you go out and you pick up a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers who has character issues, and you brought him into an organization that is notorious for character issues. That's mind-boggling to me. How could you be sitting in the room in some coaching staff or some front office management group or whatever, and you're circling the names of the guys that you would want, and it's just like, oh yeah, let's bring in 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers. You're not getting who he was 8 years ago. You're not getting who he was 10 years ago. Not even getting who he was 15 years ago. You're not getting any of that. You're getting a 41-year-old man who's a washed-up version of himself. That is a fact. And it's really sad and pathetic to see how the mighty have fallen on both sides of that. Now, I'm biased. I'm a Bears fan. I don't have many good things to say about Aaron Rodgers. Open and honest. There, I said it. But you know what? He is a Hall of Fame NFL quarterback. Yeah, I'll stand tall to that. But you would have thought he would have gone out in a better way. Not like this. Not with the humiliation of biblical proportions that was in New Jersey with the Jets. Notice how I said the word New Jersey and the Jets, because that's where they play. They don't play in New York. They don't. No, they don't. Neither do the Giants. Neither does any of your soccer teams, really. And while I'm at it, New York sports, other than the Yankees, who do they have? Because the NBA Finals are going on, or maybe they finished. I don't really follow the NBA, but I do know that the Indiana Pacers beat the New York Knicks again, but they also beat them in the conference finals a few weeks ago. And it's just like mind-boggling to me, because as a Chicago sports fan, so many people love to laugh and shit on Chicago teams and the state and everything like that. It's like, oh, we got losing teams. Okay, other than the New York Yankees, who have not won a World Series since 2009, 4 years from now, that's going to be 20 years. That's a long time for the New York Yankees, is it not? Granted, they got there last year, but they lost in Game 5 in humiliating fashion. The scene when Aaron Judge dropped the ball. Okay, that happened. No, but it's like the Mets haven't won since 1986. The Jets haven't won since the moon landing in 1969, and you can make an argument that game was fixed. No, it's like, yeah, the New York Rangers have won Stanley Cup post 1940. The New York Islanders were great in the 80s. In the last 15 years, they were essentially homeless. They got bought out by a con artist. There's a whole documentary on it. The Nassau Coliseum was falling apart. No one wanted to give them a new stadium. The Brooklyn Nets have no fan base in Brooklyn. And the biggest story in their entire team's history was Kyrie Irving was just a complete schizo. That's kind of sad, don't you think? But it's New York, so we can't say it. But it's New York. Because Madison Square Garden. Chicago Stadium and the United Center between the Blackhawks and the Bulls has seen more winning than Madison Square Garden has seen between the Knicks and the Rangers. That is a fact. Wrigley Field, still going strong. 1914 up until 2025, as I am recording this, has seen more winning between the Cubs and the Bears than the Polo Grounds. Old Yankee Stadium has seen between the joint teams that used to play there. Come on. The Brooklyn Dodgers. Yeah, they left. The baseball Giants. Yeah, they left. No, it's just New York history, New York sports history, it's all the baseball teams. It's Willie Mays, who no longer is irrelevant in New York. It's the Brooklyn Dodgers, Brooklyn Dodgers, but they're now in LA. And then there's the Yankees and the Mets. If it wasn't for the White Sox a year ago, we'd still be talking about the New York Mets being the worst team to ever exist, with the worst record ever. We'd still be talking about that. It's only the baseball teams. That is it. And really only one of them is still worth mentioning. Come on. And don't give me the New Jersey Devils. They play in Jersey. And that one's funny to me. Like, the New Jersey Devils got a better history than the New York Rangers do. The Rangers went 25 years in the original 6 era, never winning a Stanley Cup. just never winning the Stanley Cup in 25 years. There's like 5 other teams, 2 playoff rounds, so they couldn't even do that. Them and the Boston Bruins couldn't even do that. No, it's like, what big Division I football power do you have up there in New York City? Oh yeah, you don't have one. What big Division I basketball power do you have in New York City? Oh wait, you don't have one. Name me one. Name me one. Oh, Madison Square Garden. It's the Garden. Why? Because they have a basketball tournament that's meaningless? Why? They got a basketball tournament that means nothing to the NBA? Okay, so basically what I'm getting out of it, the Madison Square Garden is relevant without the sporting teams. Okay? United Center was built for the Blackhawks and the Bulls. The new Comiskey Park was built for the White Sox. Soldier Field, the renovations were all done for the Chicago Bears. Madison Square Garden can still go strong if you remove the Rangers and the New York Knicks basketball organization. You could remove it completely. You wouldn't miss a beat. Oh, but because Timothée Chalamet goes to basketball games, oh, you're relevant. Oh, because Ben Stiller, who's a horrible actor, mind you, his films are awful. Oh, because Ben Stiller goes to basketball games. Oh, okay. Oh, because Adam Sandler, who hasn't been funny in like 30 years. Oh, because he goes to basketball games there. They matter. Come on. Come on. Are you kidding me? New York is the most overrated sports commodity you could ever think of. And Frank Sinatra was from Jersey. You claim him too. He was Tunnel and Bridge.